and and put their life on the line inside these rings to, give us some joy and give us some kind of happiness. You know what I mean? It's something to love the sport about. You know, because this is a real sport, man. It's one of those sports that you can't play with. You understand what I mean? You can't. There's no playing in the ring, so you can't be joking in the ring. Uh, and I want these young boxers today to understand that this game is a mental game. So if your mental not right, and I really don't care how talented you is, but if your mental not right for this game, it's not going to work in this game. This game ain't built for that. This game is built for some real things and real people to take this shit serious. You know what I mean? Because when I say I'm gonna fuck you up, I mean that. I'm not playing with you. I'm dead serious when I say that. So it's just certain fighters, man. It's not all of them. I just got like three. Then I got some of them, you know, that died past their career. You know what I mean? It's just it's about six altogether. But it's just to give them some props. You know what I mean? Because they need the props, man. And if these boxers today was to understand, you know what I mean, the real essence of this, man, I don't think that we'd be going. This one man right here. This is dude that fought tears. You know what I mean? That was a that was that's it. Matias was kind of that's why your mental got to be right because he was kind of messed up behind that because in boxing you boxing for the sport, you boxing for your family to feed your family, you boxing for a lot of reasons, but you're not boxing to die in the ring. That's not why you're boxing. You're definitely not boxing to die in the ring. You know what I mean? It's a brutal sport. It's a brutal sport without a doubt. You know what I mean? But you're not boxing to die in the ring though. You get what I'm saying? So I just want these young boxers today, man, to don't be in here. You know what I mean? With your head all messed up, and you doing it for this and you doing it for that. Like you got to do this because you want to do it. Because you could sustain injuries inside this ring that would that'd be your last fight. Some people get away with just head injuries and live their life longer and go on and can't really talk later on and things like that. You seen that in like Muhammad Ali and people like that where they start to get the shakes and stuff like that. But they took a lot of hits to the head. That's like brain trauma. When you take enough hits, it turns into trauma. You know what I mean? So, but that's cool though because that's this is not cool, but that's boxing. So this is why I always try to educate fans. I try to educate fans first, to be honest with y'all, because I believe that fans is the ones that got the most power to the boxer. They not connected, but they related in funny ways. You know what I mean? It's like fans are like the boxer for who the boxer is. They ain't gotta know him, but what he do in the ring, they will like that and they become a fan of yours. You know what I mean? And then you go out there and you start fighting for the fans. Start fighting for you, or start fighting for the fans. But you got to protect yourself in boxing. And if there's anything going wrong with your mental, and you feel you're not supposed to be in at that time, my advice to any boxer is, don't go in because it's a brutal sport. That's the thing. It's a real brutal sport, and you could actually die in the ring. You know, like maximum. You like this one here, maximum. You can actually die in that ring. So that's my message to you, man. I just believe that when you try to pass the right message, it kind of help boxing. You know, it help it to today because boxing needs help today, whether you believe it or not. You know what I mean? But it really, really needs help today because there's a lot of people that's kind of, they're kind of messing it up about what boxing is because we got a different agenda today in boxing, period. So it's kind of, it's kind of funny when it comes to that. So, my next guy I'm gonna talk about is my dude. Well, I can't say my dude, but I'm just big in I did a little research, and so I just researched these couple of people because it's the topic that I wanted to do today. So majority of these boxers is six up here, but majority of them I don't really know their career and things like that. But my topic is boxers that died inside the ring, and a moral lesson from anytime I go live is going to always be a moral lesson because I see flaws inside the boxing association right now. I'm talking about what the boxers. I see flaws. Me personally, I see a lot of flaws in the boxers, and it's the mental. And you don't got a lot of boxers that got their mental fully together to deal with their career, to deal with their fans, if they is of a name, if they like a superstar in boxing or considered the face of boxing. And I just want the mental to be right because at any given day, if you slip in, good as you is or good as you are, and other people is really good. It's just the fact that I just want everybody mental, your mental, your opponent mental, I want everybody mental to be right when they get inside the ring because this is one of the most, if not the most dangerous sport that you can actually get involved with. And people might say, UFC or bare knuckles, but you can't take as much damage in bare knuckles in UFC as you can take in boxing because boxing has gloves, and that's why it turns to trauma because your head don't get hit with a fist to jaw. You get knocked out. That's not taking a real beating, but you can get hit with, depends on your opponent in boxing. You can literally get hit with 400 or 500 punches in various areas in your body. I'm not talking about collectively together. If you say you got, he threw 200 jabs and landed 96, or he threw 200 jabs and landed, 71, and he threw 150 body shots and landed, you know, crazy stuff like, 50, and he threw, power punches and he landed, you know, 30% of his power punches. That's a lot of damage that you take. It's not bare knuckle, and that's like physical hurt, like on the spot hurt. You get punched with bare knuckles in your face. The person don't gotta really punch you, hit you with a four-piece combo. You get knocked out with the first punch. But in boxing, you can take a four-piece combo and actually still be fighting because it got padding. So it turns to from a direct impact to a thump. See, and the thump is what gets you to go to, you know, head trauma. It's the thump. Do you get what I'm saying? Straight impact normally it does what it does. Either kill you or knock you out. Whatever it is, swell your shit up and then you get up and you might have a big lump on your eye. But in boxing, you got padding. So I can actually hit you 10 times. I can knock you out. But you don't get knocked out because it was bone to bone. Like no one was bone to bone, like your knuckle to somebody's jaw. You know what I mean? You can break the jaw. That's why people get their jaw broke in boxing. Can you imagine if that was bare knuckle? Can you imagine if the people that got their jaw broken in boxing? Can you imagine if that person was punching you bare knuckle? It wouldn't have had to take 96 jabs to get you out of here. It would have took like two of them, but your whole face would be shattered. So boxing is dangerous because it's petty when it comes to hurt. your body being hurt, boxing is petty. Uh, bare knuckle is not petty. It's aggressive. Boxing is petty. That's why you can get beat up on for 12 rounds. Somebody can literally have you in the ring and just beat you up for 12 rounds. So it's very important to keep your mental right at all times. And it's not the point about why he passed away in the ring because his mental wasn't right. I'm just saying boxing is extremely dangerous. I'm using these events as a way to pass a message, a strong message that I really want you to keep your mental right because you can die in the ring. I'm not saying that they died because their mental wasn't right. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying keep your mental right at all times because death is upon us when it comes to the ring. And now here we go. The next one. This is Patrick Day. He died after the fight. You know what I'm saying? So it was from brain trauma. You know what I mean? And the person that he fought, or the person that the last one fought, Maximum, was Matias. He fought Conwell, Charles Conwell. You know what I mean? And he died from head trauma after losing to Conwell. I think in 11th round. What was that after the fight? I told you I just researched this stuff. So yeah, it was after the fight. That he passed away. But however, it was of course from the fight. You know what I mean? And once again, I'm not saying these things that these people mental wasn't right. I'm not saying that. I'm just using that as an anchor to understand that it's very important to have your mental right inside these rings. You know what I mean? And not to take as much damage. So it's you keep boxing for what boxing is. Don't change boxing into gladiator sport. This is not back in the days when we went to the big arena and people fought to the death and everybody said yes, 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 yes. But that's what this is in a lower. That's what I said. Boxing is petty. You know what I mean? So, but you can still. It's a petty thing that happened that have very, very serious consequences. It's not nothing petty that it'll be petty to you if you lose it. This is a trickster. You know what I mean? Because you can get punched on. These gloves is deadly because they got 8, 10, 12, 14, what, up to 16 pounds on your gloves. That's just padding. And that padding creates a thump. Like if you stab your couch with a knife or pick, you hear boom, boom. That's how your brain hit when the gloves hit it. Because it's not bone to bone. So you get that thump. This is why punches that you don't see in boxing, they just hurt the most. And they'll knock you out. If it's not really about being hurt, you know what I mean? But you don't see it. And if that punch you don't see and it catch you the right way, you get discombobulated. That's just human nature. Anybody in this world get hit with a punch that he don't see, it's gonna discombobulate you. Especially if you was sitting there engaging in a fight and looking at him and you didn't see that punch come in. This is why it knock a lot of people out. There's a reason for it. It ain't That's just not a myth. You know what I mean? So I just want people to be so aware. This next one I don't know I can't pronounce his name. I can pronounce the first name, but I can't pronounce the last name. But he also Gabriel, this guy right here with the red shorts. You know what I mean? He also passed away in the ring. 11th round, if I'm correct, inside the ring at the 11th round. They tried to resuscitate him for 30 minutes, after he dropped. You know what I'm saying? But he passed away. And I don't like that, man. Like, because I really take heed to boxing. You know what I mean? I'm not a boxer. I never boxed. To be honest with you, like I'm not taking those punches. I'm not letting nobody punch me in my face and my stomach and all that all day long. That's just not my sport. You know what I mean? But however, I love boxing because I love the create, I love the courageousness of these people that will actually, you know, go in here and do these things that they do in the ring and take chances because you can die in here and be up for the challenge. Come up here and be up for the challenge, step up for it, go in there and and try to win. And I don't know if these people know that something was going on in the background in their life or something going wrong. You know what I mean? So that's why I said someone to be mentally stable at all times, especially if you in any sport, but as a boxer and things like UFC, any kind of physical contact sport, my message to everybody is that I'm trying to get everybody to be back into the mental part because this money, it kind of messed things up in boxing. It made it good because we see some good fights, but it's a lot of danger that's coming because when you take things for money, you lose a lot of integrity when you do things for money off the top. As soon as you accept the deal, you kind of lose 50 to 70% integrity, depending on the deal, depending on the place, the geographical location, and what it is that you signing up for. You know what I mean? So you lose integrity for things like that. So my advice to people is that, you know, of course, have money involved in your plan of what you want to do, but money cannot be the forefront, no matter what nobody say. I don't care what all these people say. He did it for the money. He did it for money. It cannot be the forefront because these kind of situations where you die in the ring can actually happen because you disregarding this when you do something for money. The first thing you disregard is the result of the fight. You disregard the depths of how much trouble you can get in, or how many possible ways that you can get either terminally hurt or hurt real bad, or all that goes out the window when you're doing it for money. Your conscious thought about safety with yourself, everything goes. This is why females get, not all females, because some men be out here, lurking and things like that. But I'm talking about the females that do things for money and then things go wrong. The males that do things for money and then they go wrong. You know what I mean? So when you do things for money, you take a lot of your integrity and a lot of what's based on this plan that you got going. You take that out because you doing it for a sole reason. Just remember that. All right, my next one is Jose Naples. You know what I mean? I don't actually know too much about him, but I was doing my research. I was looking it up, and I thought that he'd be a good one to be up here. Um, I think he was like 81-7 or something like that. Like he's a featherweight. Yeah, I think he's a featherweight. He's really, really, really. Hold on. He was really when I do my little research, I was looking him up, and I'm like, oh yeah, he was that guy. I don't know all the boxes, like all of them. I know a lot, but not all. You know what I'm saying? And I love to do things like this. To have a real live show when I really don't know all of them, and I can do this thing live. So when I'm talking regular, people understand that I'm not being funny. Like if I don't know some of them, I'm a researcher. This is what this internet is for. This is what Google is for. But he started from what I'm reading, he co-starred with superstar Santos in 1994, a Mexican wrestling horror film called Santo Ella what Valenta D. Well, I ain't even try to do all that. But anyway, he's a good dude. He had a good record, and I want to give him his props for what he brought to the boxing community. Because my thing is about the boxing community. I love boxers, but he was 4 divisions: featherweight, lightweight, welterweight, middleweight, orthodox. He did some things, so that's a good thing. I like that. I like to do things like this right now, and this is like a real live one and with pictures and stuff like that. And I'm putting it up here, then I'm looking it up as I go. If I say I don't know, but this next guy I do know. This is my guy though. Fatty, Ricky Fatty. That's my guy. Yo, this guy here is a funny dude, man. I respect Ricky and I like Ricky because Ricky lived his life the way Ricky wanted to live it. For real, for real. Ricky did what he did. Off. If he ain't boxing, Ricky drinking. Facts. And he crazy. Ricky say what he want to say. Yeah, and this is a funny guy. Ricky had, man. I'm telling you, man. Well, from rumors that they say right now, they from the last rumors that I heard, I don't know how true it is. I'll just put it out there 'cause I got it from the internet, so I didn't make it up. Is they sound to say that his death was a suicide. That's the last thing I heard. Now I don't know how true it is, so don't condemn me for this. You know what I mean? It's just that I'm speaking from my heart. I'm not speaking from the kind of narrative and nothing like that. Because this guy is my man, Ricky. I should like Ricky, man. You know, I I honestly, to be 100% with you, I honestly thought Ricky and Mayweather fight. I kind of like. I didn't really pick Ricky to win. I really didn't pick Mayweather to win. I really thought that it was gonna be one of those fights that turned out the way it turned out on either side. You know what I mean? It's gonna be one of those fights that I couldn't pick, but I know it wasn't going 12. That wasn't happening. Not with Ricky Hatton, with Mayweather. It just you could tell by the immediate presence with that. That wasn't going 12 rounds. So I couldn't call it. And there's some fights I can't call. You know what I mean? I'd be like, man, they be like, oh, you got to call it. You got to call it. You got to give me a thing. And at that point, I would give you my boxing answer, my boxing knowledge answer. So my boxing knowledge answer that always saves me is that I will just go with the boxer. Whichever one of y'all is the boxer. Now, if it was two brawlers like a Tyson and a Holyfield, see, I will go with Holyfield because Holyfield is a more precise brawler that you were mistaken for a boxer because he can brawl so good. To me, that's just my opinion. And so when it comes to Ricky Hatton and Mayweather, I knew it was gonna be if Ricky Hatton come in like he normally come in and be pressing you and and doing things in that nature. Then and Floyd couldn't you know adjust to it and things like that. Then I can say but that was just one of those fights, man. That like I don't care. I couldn't call that fight to save my life, but I knew whoever win, it was gonna be a big win. But I and my man backed me down and backed me down and backed me down and said, "Yo," I said, "Man, I think Floyd gonna win. I just don't know how he gonna win in what fashion." You understand what I'm saying? I don't know whether it's gonna be a knockout, was it gonna be, you just beat him up for 12 rounds, or was you gonna, what I mean? I just didn't know the type of win it was gonna be. But when he pressed me, I had to say Floyd because I really believe Floyd was gonna win at the end of the day. But I really thought Ricky had a real good chance to win. I won't say 50-50, but I would say something like a 43-57. You heard me? That's just me. Now, if you ain't been, how my man, I can give big props to my man Doc. Dr. Boxing Talk. How my man Dr. The Boxing Talk say, if you ain't been living under a rock, then you'll know who this guy here is. You hear me? This guy Foreman. This is my guy. This is one of my was one of my yeah, this is one of my favorite heavyweights. I just like what Foreman did for the sport of boxing. Foreman did a lot for the sport of boxing in certain kind of ways that Muhammad Ali did things in boxing, and I think Foreman got a, a sort of what you say a mirror resume, not in boxing. I'm talking about in life with Ali, with Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali was more political, more outgoing. He was more for his people. He was more for the ways of America. He wasn't really for if you just did something to one black man. He didn't individualize his thing. He was with the black man in the way society handled the black man just in general. You know what I mean? He got in debt with it, but it was basically in general, just like the way you just think about it on just a regular day. You don't even gotta be mad. You could be in the middle of a wedding. You could be in the middle of a happiest day of your life, and the way you perceive my people. So I always believe Ali fought for his people. You know what I mean? Because I believe that Ali felt that he can beat anybody and he can beat them all anyway. You know that's just Muhammad Ali. That's just him. You know what I mean? But when he got in that ring, I think he got in that ring with the attitude to beat his opponent. You know what I mean? And to show superiority in a black African American fighter, whether you big, small, or whatever. And also, I believe that he was trying to lay a message down to the whole, you know, at that time, because you got to remember at this time, this is what it was about. It ain't like it was now where you can be all together and just hate and do racist shit in front of people and it's like nothing and you act like you didn't do nothing. See, at this time, they used to do it and it was a problem. And so this is transition time where Ali was trying to break it, where today's time, they commend it. It's different. They want to live with it and evolve it in life. And they want to have a congregation when someone has to say some racist stuff. They don't mind you saying nigga the N word, and then they just lose their financial things and just still run around. See, but back in the days we took that for real. So our fighters, it took them so much to be so great. This is why like Foreman. You know what I mean? And he wasn't as political as Ali, but he did other things that I take me personally as okay, showing us some way. Like Foreman was to me, as far as I remember and doing my research, was one of the first boxers that turned into a major commercial business. Now there's other boxers that probably opened up businesses and maybe done better than Foreman or done, worse than him or whatever it is, or but just open a business. But I think in my knowledge and recollection, Foreman is the first boxer that I know that opened up a commercial business and went like commercially on TV and had nothing to do with boxing. So this is why I always match Foreman with Ali. In different ways they brought to our culture, to us as a black man, as a black young man, as an entrepreneur, if you want to be a boxer, there's a different kind of message that Foreman sent out to me. It wasn't political. Foreman was, it's like, that's why I love Foreman and Ali because together we will understand what people was doing, what the white man was doing. We will understand at this time. At this time, we will understand it because Ali was, say, basically, uh, if they was in a movie and they was making acting parts, Ali would be acting as the oppressor. So you get what I'm saying? Foreman will be his brother in the same movie, but Foreman will see America for the benefits that's in America as who he is, opposed to Ali looking at America, because you're looking at us down. So they both had the same agenda, but it was just in a different way. You know what I mean? And so it was just in a different way. They had the same agenda. So with that said, I always look at it like that. And that's why I say they both sent such a powerful message because I honestly got maybe my first spurt of entrepreneurship when I saw Foreman doing George Foreman grills. It had me so perplexed. It had me perplexed. I really didn't know. I'm like, what the hell? Because he's a boxer. You know what I mean? I'm like, how did he flip to uh grilling, and he didn't get down with another grill and use. He wasn't a face. He That was George Foreman grills, and that's how I took it. Like around that time, probably yeah, around the same time, I took like Famous Amos. If it's not the he was one that inspired me too with the cookies. But when it come back to Foreman, when he went to the grills, and then he continued it on and made it a whole brand, like George Foreman grills. It's a thing now. I had one. I went and bought one. I'm like, yo, I said, I figured that he liked grilling, after boxing. That was his second passion. But the way he did it, he wasn't the face of a grilling company. So he showed me as a black man, the doors is opening. I'm talking about big corporate way. Before the basketball, contracts and all that. This is innovation. This is personal. This is entrepreneurship. That's opening up their own thing. You know what I mean? And coming out with people that love it. And then knowing that I'm a boxer, and you love me for my George Foreman grill. So that's a whole different category of fans. And that's my maybe why God gave George the blessing to come back and be a two-time champion so late in such a late age of his life. You know what I mean? Because sometimes greatness is here right with you, and you gotta respect it while it's here. Because if you don't, it will lose you. And it'll be all on you. You just decided that you didn't want to see greatness, and I don't know why. But anyway, man, I'm gonna call this one a shot, man. I just wanted to talk about my peoples, man. You know what I mean? And let's get some looks of the people, before we go real quick. Oster 40, trying to get my channel back up because it was hacked and I lost my other channel. So, we get it up. But, my channel is always about education. I'm always trying to educate the fans, and I want them to be educated about boxing before they like fighters. Because a lot of these fans now, 80% of these fans today, they like fighters. They don't like boxing. They don't know the rules of boxing. They don't know the evolution of boxing. They don't know why they even like the fighters that they got that even like boxing to actually come in here and fight and get you as a fan. But if they knew that, then it would be a little different. That's all I say. I think it'd be a little different, if they knew that. So it's cool, but I'm here to educate. There's no narratives. There's no goalposts changing. We talk straight boxing. Let's talk. You know what I mean? Oster 40, man. Let's get it right, man. I'm gonna sign off right now and I'll be back on, man. Shout out to my man Irony. Shout out to my man Dr. Boxing Talk. Shout out to my man Bruce Vane. You know what I mean? These are some people that I listen to and get my little, I mean? These are some people that I look up to. I see them on a little higher standard because sometimes there's no narratives and nothing like that going on. So if y'all around, check out these channels too. Peace it out. Oster 40.